Okay, I love these two questions. The first one is, what is the best talk talk ratios on a call? Ooh. Okay, so if you're using a software like Gong or Chorus, which is a conversation intelligence solution or software, you'll have the data. It'll give you the data and tell you your talk ratio. But I think it's also very dangerous to rely solely on the data to make your decision. So what I'd recommend is overall, you should be looking for who's doing most of the talking. Is it me or is it the prospect? The second thing you should be looking for is, what are we talking about? Are we talking about nonsense, like a movie that we watched the other day and that's taking up majority of the call, or are we talking about the business and the problems that they're dealing with and how to solve them? But rule of thumb, I typically look for anywhere between a 60, 40, 70, 35-ish type of split, meaning I'm doing maybe 60% of the talking, even sometimes 50% of the talking, and the prospect is doing 40% or whatever it is, because I have to lead the conversation. Where it gets dangerous is if the prospect is doing majority of the talking, and that leads to them controlling the call, which you don't want happening. Now, to answer your second question, how to get quiet clients to talk more other than asking questions. Question asking is a staple to a really good call. The problem is a lot of sales reps end up asking stupid questions. They ask questions like, any questions? And then they do this often, and that doesn't actually create more engagement, and that doesn't get the prospect to open up more. You need to be asking more open-ended questions. For example, process-related questions like, hey, prospect, you mentioned that you're dealing with an XYZ problem. What is your current process of solving that internally? Open-ended questions get the prospect to talk more. Another thing that you can do that's not about asking questions is when you are on a Zoom call with a prospect and you're sharing your screens, stop the screen sharing when you want to tell a story or talk about something. This way, they're only seeing your face. This creates a lot of engagement and almost forces the prospect to focus and pay attention to you. Another little thing that it's a little difficult to do because it may not happen often is if you're on a call and for whatever reason you hear like a bird or a dog in the background, you can call that out on the call. You can say to the prospect, hey, what kind of dog do you have? Yes, that's a question, but again, it's not an annoying question. It gets the prospect to open up. And think about it for yourself. You do a lot of talking when someone asks you questions, specifically open-ended questions that is interesting and intriguing, not when they're not asking you questions and then you have to carry the conversation.